Hi guys, and welcome to the first official episode of the Jellystone podcast. I'm your host, Babs Hypeman, and I'm super stoked you guys are tuning into the podcast. Today's episodes are going to be my current top 10 anime recommendations. I forgot to mention in the teaser how much of a weeb I am, so you know I had to expose myself in the first episode. So stay tuned. I started watching anime at a pretty young age. I want to say like 4 or 5 years old. Cartoon Network was bumping as a kid, and I remember like from midnight to 6 a.m. every Saturday night they would play Toonami. And for those who aren't familiar with Toonami, it's an American late night television block that primarily broadcasted Japanese anime and like American action animation. My first animes were from like Toonami. Like Toonami introduced me to anime, and they introduced me to Dragon Ball Z. So as a kid, like I had the biggest crush on Piccolo, and so like I don't know exactly what drew me to Piccolo, but I was just like, I don't like pickles, but I love me some Piccolo. Like most kids, I also watched Pokemon. At the time, my favorite Pokemon was between Bulbasaur and Charmander. It wasn't until I started watching Inuyasha that seriously got me into watching anime, besides Studio Ghibli movies. I also simped for Lord Shisamaru. Like, I hard simped for him. Anyways, that's enough of me simping for anime boys. It's time to hop into my top 10 anime recommendations. My first anime recommendation is a fairly recent anime I watched on Hulu called Wandering Witch: The Journey of Elena. This is a fantasy adventure anime about a young and talented witch who is inspired by her favorite book to set out on her own adventure to explore the world. Elena travels from one country to another looking for new adventures. She is also confronted by humanity in all shapes and forms. But Elena's story isn't all rainbows and butterflies. It gets dark from time to time. This anime gives me kind of like Little Witch Academia with a sick twist of Netflix Black Mirror vibes. This anime does have some triggering episodes. So with that being said, this anime is not intended for children, so viewer discretion is advised. This anime is a fairly short anime. There's about 12 episodes in the first season. It's definitely a binge-worthy anime. You could probably finish it up in like 2 days. There is also some talk about a potential season 2 releasing in 2022. Overall, I give this anime a 7 out of 10 rating, just because I really enjoyed the dark, twisted life lessons in this anime. My second anime recommendation and my all-time favorite childhood animation is Avatar: The Last Airbender. Now there's a lot of debate on whether Avatar: The Last Airbender is an anime or just American animated series. But for this sake of the episode, I'm going to consider it an anime just because the art style and the storytelling elements are heavily influenced by Japanese and other Asian cultures. And for those who aren't familiar with Avatar: The Last Airbender, it is an adventure, fantasy, and action anime that we're calling it for this episode. In the Avatar universe, the world is divided into 4 nations. Each represent the 4 main natural elements: water, fire, earth, and the air nation. The term bender refers to the characters in the show who have the ability to control and manipulate the element from their nation. Only the Avatar is the master of all 4 elements. During the rise of the new Avatar, the Fire Nation wants to conquer the other three nations, but the Avatar is the only one who is powerful enough to put a stop to the Fire Nation. But one day the Avatar disappears until 100 years later, and that's where the journey begins. There is about 61 episodes in Avatar: The Last Airbender. It is not a series where you can binge over the weekend. You're definitely going to need a lot of spare time to digest the life lessons and spiritual lessons that are presented in the series. This is the main reason why Avatar is my favorite anime. There's also a spin-off of Avatar: The Last Airbender called Legends of Korra. There's about 52 episodes in that series, but to be honest, it has nothing on Avatar: The Last Airbender. It's a good series, but it's not as good as the OG. Lastly, I wanted to mention that there's a lot of great characters in this series, a lot of great character development. You grow attached to these characters, but my overall favorite character that I relate to the most is Toph Beifong. She's a gifted earthbender. She's also a bad. Overall, I give this series a 10 out of 10 without a doubt. My third anime recommendation is for anyone looking for a rom-com or a slice-of-life anime is Toradora. So Toradora actually translates to Doragon, or Doragon. I don't know. I'm trying to put the accents in and it just sounds stupid. Anyways, interesting enough, Toradora is the hybrid of the main character's name, Taiga, which means tiger, and Ryuji, which means dragon. Toradora is about an unlikely friendship between Ryuji, who has an intimidating appearance but is gentle at heart, and Taiga, who looks like a cinnamon bun but would actually kill you. The two together help each other in confessing their loves to each other's crushes, which is each other's best friends. So it's kind of like a love square, kind of. As a side note, I just really want to mention of how much I like Taiga. She reminds me so much of Toph, and I think a lot of people underestimate her because of her appearance, but she definitely proves them wrong in the series. Toradora only has one season with 25 episodes, but if you're craving more, there is a light novel with 10 volumes and a spin-off novel with 3 volumes. There's also a 9-volume manga as well. Overall, I rate Toradora a 7.5 out of 10 for the comedic humor and the soft romance. For my fourth anime recommendation, I do apologize in advance if I butcher the name. Mejuk Tensei Jobless Reincarnation. I don't know why I gave it a French accent. Let me try it again. Mejuk Tensei Jobless Reincarnation. Oh my god. So, for the sake of the episode and my dignity, I'm just going to refer to it as Jobless Reincarnation. Jobless Reincarnation was actually recommended to me on TikTok. It's a fairly short anime, so I was able to binge watch it like over the weekend, and I personally felt like it was too short for the amount of character development they just kind of like jam-packed in the series. There's only 11 episodes in the first season, and they did end the series with a cliffhanger, which that is my biggest pet peeve. But for this series, I kind of understand. There's also talk about a season 2 though, so they better deliver. So Jobless Reincarnation is about a jobless hermit man who is obsessed with anime, waifus, and video games. Big same. He later dies and is reincarnated into a fantasy world while keeping all his memories from his previous life. He's then determined to live a fulfilling life with adventure, magic, and love. And other things. It's honestly a great anime for adults who are tired of watching animes about teen students. Jobless Reincarnation is a fantasy isekai anime with some ecchi for comedic humor. It's kind of cringe, but it works. Ecchi animes are not my cup of tea, but Jobless Reincarnation definitely changed my mind about it. Overall, I give it a 9 out of 10 rating just because they really left me on that cliffhanger and I'm kind of butthurt about it. My fifth anime recommendation speaks to my gamer girl soul. Sword Art Online is every gamer's dream to escape reality, except for one problem, that it's a one life mod.